Many people are fearful of God, but is that what God wants? The definition of fear is to be afraid of someone or something that's likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. In the Bible, Joshua chapter 1, verse 9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." But how can I not be afraid when all of this suffering is going on around me? When the people are hurting each other? How can I not be discouraged when the tasks at hand feel too great for me to understand? But nowhere in the Bible does it say not to feel these things. I think that God lets us feel afraid and feel discouraged because a feeling is temporary. But when you are being something and you are something, it's permanent. God gives you a destiny, a pathway, so that you can be great, so that you can find your true purpose. You have a job to do. You don't have to be Joshua. You don't have to go around and lead people through the desert or anything. You are your own true person and you have your own calling. Most of the time, people's calling is something that they're fearful of. But if you feel fearful, you can push past it. If you are fearful, and it stops you. Most of the time, the default setting is fear. Fear is always around. You may be scared of cliff diving. You may be scared of falling. But when you take that jump, you're not actually scared of the fall. You're scared of what will happen when you land. The same thing happens with faith. When you are scared of believing in God, people are scared to jump in the deep end and read the Bible. People are scared of believing in something that they have no power over. But when you can distinguish your feeling and being, then you can finally understand your faith and calling. I challenge myself every day to allow myself to feel fearful and feel discouraged, but I do not allow myself to be fearful or be discouraged because I know that God is with me. I know that God forgives sin and will always be there even when my faith falters. In the past year, I have had many trials of my faith due to the fear of the unknown. I have been fearful of what happens next and what is going to happen in the far future. But when I realized what my fear was, and it was mostly in my head, and that I just felt fearful and I felt discouraged, I began to grow in my faith and trust. I began seeing that God had a plan for me. Even though I might have felt scared to do something, I knew that God was there looking over me and giving me guidance to be my best self. God calls us to feel afraid of the things He asks of us, but not to be afraid. It may be hard, but once you understand that the feeling of fear is temporary and not permanent, you will find what God is calling you to do. Thank you.